DJL says, if the computer shows you've followed the break-in process and you still have the fuel dilution issue and you tried the Yamaha solution several times and still have the issue, have you seen Yamaha cover this issue under warranty? Is the customer responsible for this design flaw? So we're talking about engines that make oil, and it's not really a design flaw. I wouldn't say that. And also, as far as looking at the computer is not going to show you if it was broken properly. All a computer does is records runtime. So I think people think the computer's a little bit more advanced than it really is. Most of the computers, they're not going to show if you did a break-in period. What it does is as soon as the engine's running, it starts recording, and it records the time and the RPM. So if you're running at 1,000 RPMs, it's just going to be recording the amount of time that you're running at 1,000 RPM. If you run at 1,500, 2,000, 3,000, it's going to run that timer based on those RPM ranges. Most of them go from 750 to 1,000. Or, say it goes from 0 to 1,000, from 1,001 to 2,000, from 2,000 to 3,000, 3,001 to 4,000, 4,001 to 5,000. It breaks it down like that. And then it just shows you that exact thing right there. It'll get up to wide open throttle, and it'll say, 6250 plus, meaning that you've gone above that. And then it just records that time. So whenever you pull that report and that rundown, all that shows you is that, the engine has been ran for 15 hours under 1,000 RPM, 20 hours between 1,000 and 2,000, 500 hours at 2,000 to 3,000. It's going to give you just a number and an RPM range. It doesn't show you anything about, whether or not it was broken in properly or not, because break-in process is a little bit different than that. You're just varying the RPMs and getting the rings to seat. So, after the first 10 hours, after the first 100 hours, you're going to have no idea. No one's going to be able to see anything about how it was ran during the break-in process. So given that, no, there's not any way to show how the engine was broke in. And it's not really a design flaw. It's just how an internal combustion engine works. It's how metal, it's just how it works. There's not really any way around it. You're talking about, piston rings, a compression ring, a combustion chamber, heat, and the cylinder walls. So it's this component wearing itself into place, and it doesn't matter if it's a car, doesn't matter if it's a lawnmower, doesn't matter if it's an outboard, a combustion engine. Those components, they wear in how they wear in. It's just kind of what it is. So it's not really a design flaw. It's just internal combustion engine burning gasoline. So I don't know if I would call it a design flaw. It's just kind of how it is. And then also on top of that, the load. So the mapping and the load that's on the engine, which is the big difference on why you see it more in outboards than you see it in cars, because it's a less load. So, no, they're not going to really, there's nothing to really cover, I guess, is what they're going to say. There's nothing that can be done really. Figure out why it's doing that and then try and fix it. Usually you can get those rings to seat. If you get them hot and if it's a carbon problem, whatever it is, you can usually get to stop. On the 3.3 liters, when it was a brand new plasma fused cylinder walls, because of how hard the cylinder walls were, that was kind of a learning experience there. They're still going to say that it's the, appearance of making oil or fuel dilution. But that's the only one, the shows and stuff like that. Usually the ones that are doing that, as soon as you get the prop right and start running it right, like by and large, most of them, all the problem goes away. So that's, kind of my take on that. Now, if you like this video, you can watch the full episode over here, or you can watch another clip over here.